obviously a beautiful day. 3 really good practices this week, capped off by another really good practice. Really appreciate the way the guys are working, the energy they're putting forth, the attention to detail, how much they're improving from day to day into the football team that we're trying to build. Did have the unfortunate incident at the end with Gunner. We'll find out what the situation is with that. That was a non-contact, change of direction kind of a deal on the grass there, so that was disappointing. But beyond that, I'm just so proud of the guys and so appreciative of the effort, coaches and players. I really like the mindset of this football team. So we got another week behind us. We'll have 2 more weeks to go. We'll have the phase 2 final week, 3rd week next week, 3 days into 4 days, and then we'll have the mandatory minicamp the week after that. Then the guys will get away for about 5 weeks, and we'll be back for training camp at the Greenbrier. What question do you have?
John, since we have spoken to you last, there have been some off-the-field news, certainly. The players talked about it. What's your whole take on all this and how it affects the locker room and decision-making and all that stuff?
Sure, yeah, it's all great, good questions, and it's interesting stuff, and I think it's kind of part of the conversation of life. We're part of that, too, as a football team, like any workplace, so it was a great opportunity. It was really a good opportunity for us as a football team to have these kind of conversations around a real life incident. It's something that comes up. It's one thing to talk about it in theory. This is how we want to handle this, that, or the other, and we do. But when you have something that happens that's like real, because things are going to happen that are real, you get a chance to talk about them practically. And that was the best part about it. We had a chance to talk to the guys a little bit through the weekend. Then we got in first thing Tuesday because that was our first chance back together. We didn't want to let it sit. The veterans came in and we had a really good conversation with those guys. We went into a team meeting, and really the important thing to understand is that what we are is a collection of all of us together, and so we need to understand really how we want to approach these things going forward. And you don't want to stand up there and just try to dictate some terms, as a coach. You want to find out what the players think, how the coaches and players feel about it, and really mainly the players, because as I told them, it's your team, and what you want the focus to be on and what you want to be about going forward, and the way we're going to treat one another going forward. Is it going to be centered around respect and those kind of things? That's really up to you guys as a team, and you guys need to decide, and then let's talk about it and let's decide what we're going to do. And we had a good little meeting. It wasn't real long, but it was to the point, and the players established amongst themselves how they wanted to approach these kind of things. They're part of the dialogue in our society, and they did a great job of it. I was proud of them. I was impressed by them. Couldn't have asked for anything better, and so we're in a good place now, and we're moving forward.
Do you think Jackson made a mistake?
I don't think it's about that. I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's not a judgment type of a thing. It's nothing to be judged. It's funny, Andy Reid. I remember Andy Reid used to have a card behind his desk, and I looked at it for about 2 years before I asked him what it was. I've told this story before, but it just said, "Don't judge." And I finally had the nerve to ask him, and he explained that that's the point is, and it's a biblical principle, but the point is basically is that everybody comes from a different place, a different space, a different background. People were brought up in all kinds of different ways. That is a fact. That is the beauty of a football team. It is a microcosm of society, and I don't know if there's any more of a better example of like the ultimate team endeavor than a football team. I've always believed that. I'm a football coach, so of course I think that, but I do believe that, and that's where all those things have to be addressed, and it starts with respect. It starts with mutual respect for one another, and that goes in every kind of direction, every kind of way, and that's the way our guys approached it, and I was proud of them for that.
What was your role on Saturday in the communication with Abdul and Jackson? Obviously, Abdul tweets in the morning and then put the ball in the afternoon. I'm sure. What was your role?
No, I didn't talk to those guys till later. I didn't get too involved with it. I heard about it, and then kind of let it sit for a while and just see where it went. And I talked to them later. So all that stuff, that whatever happened with those guys was between those guys, and that's the way it should be. It's not for me to get in the middle of it and start telling guys what to do. If they had a conversation, which I think they said they did, by the time I talked to both those guys, they said they'd already talked, and they were good.
You said you kind of come to a policy as a team. What is that policy?
Well, I mean, that's our policy. That's our way of approaching it. But I think, I think you can ask the players. Ask them, because it's really they're the ones that decided, how we were going to approach it. Guys like A.T., guys like Burns, guys like Jameis, all those guys. I mean, all the guys, really. I mean, there's a number of guys that were a part of those conversations, and just ask them. But I'd say if I was going to sum it up in any kind of way, it's that we have respect for one another, in all things we do. And they do, because, that's the way a football team is. You have to respect one another. It's a hard sport to play, and they already come in with mutual respect for one another. So respect everything about person's situation, including their opinions, and then keep it about the main thing, which is our mission. That's what we're here for. We're here to be the very best football team we can be. We want to be the best team in the league. We want to prove it. That's our goal. That's our mission. We got to work hard to do that, and there's going to be all these different things that are going to come up, but stay focused on that and as much as you can, and deal with all the other stuff, because the other stuff is part of life too. If I was going to sum it up, it'd be that way, but I think you should ask them, see what they say.
John, did you or anyone else in the organization know that Jaxson was going to do this prior to it happening?
Yeah, we knew he was going to shake the president's hand. Someone had said to me, "Hey, Jackson's going to go meet the president," and I was like, "Great, good for him."
John, politics aside, Jaxson bringing up the Giants, the Big Blue Nation, and leading cheers, was that something that maybe,
Again, I don't mean to interrupt the question. I think it's a good question, and it's a fair conversation, and I think anybody can have their opinion about it and write about it. Let's look at it how you want. Now, I respect that, opinion. It's not for me to judge. It's not important. It's not going to affect what kind of football team we are. So I think I'll leave it for other people to have that conversation.
Do you sense that it had any effect on your team? You obviously had the team meeting on Tuesday.
Yeah.
The last couple of days at all?
Yeah, not at all. I mean, it's been great. I think it's made us better. Honestly, Jordan. If I was really looking at it, I'm kind of grateful for the opportunity that we had to have the conversation, because it's like, and I kind of shared this with you guys before, but if you do things the right way, you confront everything all the time that have to do with your football team and your ability to be successful. And that was something to confront and talk about. So rather than, ignore it, or rather than dictate something, let's just talk about it. Let's confront it and let's decide how we're going to do it. And they did it, and they moved on and had 3 great practices. So I feel like it's probably, if I'm being really honest about it, I think it made us better in a lot of ways.
Given that Jaxson is the quarterback of your team, does he have to conduct himself differently or more conscientiously about what he's standing for and representing publicly, given that he represents a group of people and not just himself?
In a big picture question, a general question, set it aside from a specific decision. Absolutely, he knows that. I mean, you're the quarterback of the Giants. It's a great honor. It's a great privilege. I mean, there's nothing like it, and he's a young guy, and he wants to do his best to do that and be the best quarterback, the best person, the best teammate he can be, and he'll continue to strive to do that.
When you said it made the team better, what exactly? How did you see this make the team better? Just in what way?
Yeah, well, the way I just have been talking about, the chance to talk about those things and establish, what we want to be about and how we want to handle challenges like this, because it's not going to be the last thing. There's going to be all kind of things. There's going to be games are going to go the way they're going to go. Plays are going to get made. Plays are not going to get made. Stuff's going to happen out there in the world. Things are going to get said. Stuff's going to be done. How are we going to approach this as a team? And you really, until you got to decide ahead of time how you want to handle things, like you do in your life, right? You got to say, okay, this is what I stand for. This is what we want to be about in your family or at your workplace or whatever. And so how it made us better was the fact that we were able to have that conversation and just kind of establish, just establish, what the principles were going to be. And the players did that. That was the players doing that together amongst themselves. I can't think of a better way to do it than that.
John,
two more.
If Abdul had sent Jaxson a text, we wouldn't have known about it. So did you use this as a teaching moment about?
No, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm not worried about all that. There's a lot of ways to handle. There's a lot of ways to communicate. There's a lot of ways to talk. There's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways to do things better. Certainly going forward, I'm sure we all learn, and that's a good thing, and that's what you do.
John, just to clarify.
Last one.
You said you knew that Jaxson was going to meet the president and shake his hand. Did you know that it was going to be in a public way introducing the president?
No, but it doesn't matter. You know, I mean, I'm not worried about it. I'm not into all those details about it. It's not something that concerns me. What concerns me is our football team, our guys, our team talking, our team being on the same page, and confronting and talking about whatever it might be. I mean, how do we play cover 3? We got to talk about it every second. How do we handle noise or criticism, or how do we handle success? We had that conversation. How about we win 5 games in a row? When that happens, how are we going to handle that? We're going to start thinking we're all that? We're going to start thinking that, the next game is going to come easy? Or we're going to be locked in and determined? That's another conversation that we had, kind of brought up through all this, Rudyard Kipling, triumph and disaster. Meet those 2 imposters, treat them just the same. It's something like that. It's along those lines. That's kind of how I look at it.